I'm gonna take half.
It's somewhere here.
We gotta figure out a way to get them in order.
I had to make my way.
You said that he's better than us?
You were like a lot more.
Welcome to another
Hello.
episode 20 of Coffee with Traders. Wow, guys, we're on a roll, man. 20 episodes in,
Yep.
and we're gonna keep going. So,
quick.
yeah, right. And it's been fun, lots of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the only thing that I keep seeing here is nobody's drinking coffee but me, and this
Yeah.
is Coffee with Traders.
Nothing but.
You know what I got today?
Oh, yeah, still no call from Fairlife. What's up,
no
guys?
call, but maybe this will do the trick, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
love
30
your
grams of
chocolate
protein.
milk.
30 grams of protein
And how many calories?
and just 150 calories.
150
Isn't that
calories, and we're really not sponsored by Fairlife
Yeah,
yet, but we
we
do
are
like
not.
their chocolate milk.
amazing? Lactose free, by the way.
Yeah.
For all our lactose intolerant fellows out there.
Yes, exactly. But today we have an exciting show because
Yeah.
NVIDIA earnings just came out,
Absolutely.
and then it's been a heck of a ride with crypto.
Yep.
And AVAX is finally starting to pay back a little bit. So, yeah, what's up with NVIDIA, guys? Let me know.
I mean, he just made a short on NVIDIA yesterday, but the earnings came out, right? And, NVIDIA did beat revenue expectations, but their earnings per share.
You're right. So, no, you can actually finish that.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
allow you
So
to-
their earnings per share came
interrupt him?
slightly under the estimated line. And you know how the market is, right? The market does tend to react very strongly to the Mag 7's earnings, right? Whether it's Google, NVIDIA, things like that, right? And so typically what will happen is that you'll have a day like this that'll be a larger binary event, like a larger event on scale than something like PCE, which came out today, which is inflation data, by the way, for our viewers. But anyways, back to the topic of NVIDIA, right? Their earnings came out slightly under the estimate, meaning that this could be one of the signs, like we like to talk about like the signs of the day of judgment and things like that, or the what is it called, the resurrection. But there's another word for it. You know what? I'll forget it. Yeah, but
When you said that, I'm thinking AI, and honestly, the first image that came to me was Judgment Day and Determinator.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
that's-
exactly.
I was thinking of a movie as well.
Yeah, but you know how there's signs for these things, right? And people talk about the AI bubble, right? And one of the biggest signs is for one of the largest AI chip makers for their earnings to come out slightly under the expectation.
And now, what does that mean for the market as a whole, basically? And I'll kind of take over, just recapping some of what we talked about in the video.
it, so I want to know
So
how
yeah.
that worked out for you.
So, well, if you look at the market, it came down even heavier in the post market because of that. So, on my video, go check out our shorts. We talk about how the money is rotating out of the tech sector. It's rotating out of the overbought sectors like the chips and the semiconductors and even
you did a video on this.
I did make a video, so do check that out. I am going to talk about it a little bit in today's video as well. So also keep your eyes out on that one if you missed this.
We'll
But
link it below so you guys can check out his video.
yeah, we will. And it is very, very important. Now, not only because, it's NVIDIA and everybody has it and everybody loves it, one of the big Mac 7, but it's also really, really nice to see how the money is rotating out of the tech sector into the oversold industries like crypto, like physical gold, like physical silver. And that's actually what we're seeing now, where the money is rotating out and it's going into the areas where people actually want to be in.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on how the crypto cycle is moving and people are getting out of the tech sector?
Before you move on, I had a question though.
Please.
NVIDIA, you're saying it came out under the expected
Earnings.
Earnings per share,
EPS.
but it was still a positive report, was it not?
Now, technically, the report could be negative or positive, but it's more based off kind of how surprised people were.
Yeah.
So you'll see that, the earnings were going up, but still the stock dumps. So we kind of saw that, it was 96 billion was the revenue.
Exactly.
And then, but people were expecting 92. If I'm not mistaken on those numbers, please fact check me. So while we're seeing that happening, we could, still see the stock come down. So even though revenue was up, we saw the stock come down and
Yeah.
to our favor.
And one thing to keep in mind about earnings for our viewers, for anyone that's watching is
Gambling? Oh no, it's not gambling.
No, not necessarily that it's gambling, but typically you'll see the market react to earnings in a unique way. Sometimes it'll react instantly, and sometimes it'll react the next day.
Delayed
right?
reaction.
A delayed reaction. And so typically, right, even if the earnings, and especially with a large, massive company like NVIDIA, the market reaction you'll typically see once all the information is digested and the market opens the next day, right? So that's when you'll see the actual reaction. Like where is the money flowing? Because we all know that money never leaves the market; it only rotates.
Of course.
Right? And so one of the things to keep in mind is like the Mad Bulgarian was just mentioning is that money is now rotating into crypto, right? And so that's an important part. And also another thing,
Shows me money.
and another thing to keep in mind is that short interest, right? Like selling is building up in the chip makers, in the tech sector, in the Nasdaq, right?
Like Kospi.
Yeah.
So the Korean markets are also taking large hits because they're made up of exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah.
The big guys are in that kind of
The
thing.
Kospi is made up of two stocks,
Yep.
Samsung and SK Hynix.
Wow. Samsung's massive.
It is
We've
massive.
never been to Korea before, right?
Nah, we don't have that problem over here on this side of the
But
table.
Yeah, Samsung's everywhere, man. It's almost like the national corporation of South Korea. It's Samsung. It's
Well,
wild.
they're two, just kind of like how we have, like big corporations like, Fidelity and BlackRock that are, in the real estate, in the defense, the same thing there. So they're also like, I was talking to some guys who actually work at SK Hynix and they were or Hynix, however you guys say it, NVIDIA, but just kind of seeing what people are talking about. Everybody's saying like how, it's getting scary now. We're seeing with the terrorists, we're seeing with all these international problems and these wars that it's really affecting business. Now I have a question for you because you mentioned something a long time ago and it just reminded me. So it tickled my brain kind of thing, and I want to tickle yours right now. So you said
Always
that the NVIDIA market cap is bigger than the whole crypto market, right?
Yes.
So now if we're starting to see money rotate out of there, isn't that a really good time for crypto?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I personally think so, right? And I think that for someone, by the way, this is why I love that the Mad Bulgarian's always sitting with us, because he's not a full-time trader like we are, right? And so he always can give us
I'm not even a part-time trader.
Yeah, exactly. So he can always give us the retail perspective, like the retail eyes on the market. And going to your question, right, is that when someone sees that confidence is starting to be lost in the largest company, a company that's larger than the entirety of, crypto, right? The entirety of the crypto space.
Which that statement, by the way, is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
When you put that into perspective,
Exactly.
NVIDIA. Well, we don't have a consensus yet on how to pronounce it, right?
I'm saying NVIDIA for now.
NVIDIA. I always pronounce it NVIDIA. So if you're watching, comment down below. Let us know how you pronounce.
NVIDIA.
Is it NVIDIA? Is it NVIDIA? We don't know.
Yeah. But you were saying something.
I don't remember now.
Actually, I do have a good point too. I just want to kind of just a statement to make sure that we're not saying that NVIDIA is going down to $50.
Yeah.
We're not saying that. But what we're saying is in this short term, as the market as a whole corrects, as we're seeing the Mag 7 or Mag 8, if you include SpaceX, if you're seeing all these kind of stocks come down, the tech sector being affected, the semiconductors, all of these sectors being affected, we could see a decent correction.
Yeah.
And that would be when you guys really want to buy and take profit from, these large moves that have happened.
You said that I think there was a resistance at 196 and then one at 160, if I remember correctly.
Support at 195 and
Not
could
resistance,
even
excuse me,
160.
support,
Well,
yeah.
you're not a trader,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't know
See?
expectation
yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
man. Yeah, give me a break, guys.
But if it was one of these guys, then we would have had an issue if we
Yeah.
mixed up the resistance and
so
support.
it's
But
160 is the baseline resistance. Right?
190 could get there pretty quick. It's sitting at 208 right now.
Yes,
So-
So
208.
it did move up a little bit.
It went down actually. So it had because before earnings, everybody kind of either buys in a lot or sells in a lot, and then after earnings, like you said, we could see that.
So what you're saying is tomorrow we could see a real picture of whether it's going to drop below that.
Yes.
200.
NVIDIA moves very quickly, and if NVIDIA comes down to 195 support level and breaks it, it's gonna be a very bad day for the stock market.
But it'll be a very good
And-
day for crypto.
And so this is
Could
Maybe.
be.
No
That's not necessarily
financial
correlated.
advice.
Yeah.
No financial advice.
That's not correlated, but there's an interesting thought there, because that's what I was getting at with the retail eyes, right? When you start seeing confidence being lost in one of the largest companies out there, right? And in addition to that, you're starting to see articles or news talking about Bitcoin going up or Solana going up, right? The retail eyes go, wait, so if NVIDIA is coming down, but this is coming up, you know what I want to do? I want to go buy crypto, right? Because that's what happens.
Well, the other
right?
thing too is like in last week's episode we talked about, or was it last week or the week before? Regardless, we had talked about how when Palantir moved, you looked at all the other stocks in that sector
Yes.
to catch a ride up. Well, guess what? I mean, the opposite is true too. If NVIDIA starts to go down, then other stocks in that sector is going to go down, and the movie's going to flow out. And exactly what
Absolutely.
people are reading in the news: Bitcoin's going up. This is going up. So hey, if NVIDIA's going down, that means that my shares in and insert company name here
that, yeah.
is going to go down too. It's going to follow the leader, so to speak,
Yeah.
up and down.
Yeah.
So that could be potentially some good moves for crypto, which
You're
hey,
very
I'm on
right.
board.
You're
I
very
don't
right.
I don't
And-
have any skin in Nvidia, so
Well, yeah, and honestly, if you miss that big run, there's no point of holding through because I know people they hit it big on once or twice on a few stocks and then they become married to it. You don't have to. There's infinite money out there. The stock market is a register, as we say.
That's-
You just go and you pull it out of it.
that's the biggest marketing scam that crypto ever pulled, and now it extended into other areas. Is the HODL.
Yeah.
You just gotta HODL through it, man. No, why
There's
would
no
you
point.
miss out on profit? That's
Yeah.
so stupid.
Take your profit, get
Yeah,
back
take your
in.
profit and get back
It's
in.
not a problem.
Yeah.
Now that we're kind of, it's very clear to not only us, before when we were saying this, there wasn't really like people weren't believing. Now when they're seeing the market really take these big hits, NASDAQ down thousands of points, you're seeing Dow come down, all of these, Russell 2000, people are starting to pay more of attention. And now we're starting to see that, that money rotate into crypto over the last week or so. What are some crypto coins that we're watching? Z-Money?
So what are we watching? We're watching Solana, the biggest one.
Solana, biggest one. What are some of the runner-ups?
Runner-ups. I mean, I'm on my AVAX chain forever.
AVAX chain, okay,
I
okay.
gotta
Yeah.
slap that one
Together.
till it gives us our money back. you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Chainlink
that's
is a
right.
good one too.
Chainlink.
XRP.
Wait, I'm sorry, what was that?
Not that one.
XRP.
Well, next thing you know, you're gonna be pitching Zen, bro.
Yeah.
Oh no. Actually, Dash moved quite significantly over the weekend and then came right back down.
So-
Or Zen and Dash.
Interestingly enough, I saw this old screenshot from someone who had bought Bitcoin close in the thousands, right? When it was in the thousands. And they were talking, like, at that time, they had a crypto market cap list, right? And the top 7, it's so funny to see how old crypto really is because Bitcoin was like almost 15 years ago, right? Like the
2011.
yeah.
2010, 2011.
Exactly, or like the start of Bitcoin. But at that time, right, their XRP, like Ripple, right, and Dash were in the top 7, right? And so these, like, people till this day, even though crypto's 15 years old, still say, "Oh, crypto's this new thing that I will never touch, and it's this new technology that's all a scam." Guys, it's been around here for 15 years, right? Like people,
Well,
like,
I mean, to play devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
so were VHS tapes.
That's
But Look
true.
at what happened.
Now, yeah, that is very true. But at the end of the day, right, we have to look at what's the utility of these different things, right? Like we mentioned a couple different coins, right? The Bullionite, who I'm sure we'll see shortly, right, loves Solana not because it's just Solana, but because a lot of the stocks that are traded on, the S&P and the NASDAQ are now being tokenized and put on Solana's chain.
Yeah.
So like one example that he gave was someone in Afghanistan, right, can now trade the NASDAQ even though they don't have a U.S. brokerage account.
amazing.
Yeah, which is
them.
which is great.
Which
Which
is
is-
more inflow.
Yeah.
Which is good, yeah, exactly.
It's good
for
for America,
everybody, yeah. It's good
exactly.
for everyone, honestly, because they're able to
exactly.
get exposure to those markets that they, want to make money on.
Right.
And then we're also able to get, more inflows in the market, more liquidity to take.
Yeah,
so like,
exactly.
But what are your thoughts on the utility now? Because we're starting to see it, and as we're
Come on in. Look at who showed up. Look at what
we're
the
gonna
cat drove
welcome
in.
the
Welcome,
ambassador
welcome. Yes,
What are we
yes,
talking
the
about?
ambassador.
coming from a busy meeting. Everything good, ambassador?
Everything went well.
Yeah,
man.
feel a little lighter after the meeting.
Yeah, it was a loose meeting.
Well, Ambassador, why don't you share your thoughts on this? We're talking about crypto right now
Oh,
and how
yeah.
the money's rotating out of the tech sector. And, we're all kind of seeing how money from there is flowing into crypto. What are some crypto coins that, you like their real world use, you like their utility, that are, extremely mispriced, they're very oversold in value?
I think Zen is a great
No.
is a
dude,
great crypto.
He's off the
buy.
trading, bro.
He's out. You're off.
It's at all-time lows. It's
Cut
been
the mic. Cut the mic.
we've had a massive run, but I think a better one is probably Dash.
Not financial advice.
Not funny.
Okay,
Not
explain
Tho-
though.
those are
Explain
great.
why.
Because everyone's running towards crypto because it's safer, it's more privacy. People, the government's been looking at people's wallets, all that, and people just want privacy, and that's what that offers.
With
So-
all the hacking and stuff.
Yeah. So some extra insight into what the ambassador is saying is he's talking about like so Dash and Zen are in the category of privacy coins, right? And so like that Zcash is also one of them,
Zcash,
right? So
yeah.
that's kind of
The
like the
leading,
yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of like the trilogy, right? And
Went from like what 600 to 1,000 almost now.
yeah.
It came back down to like the 800.
It's in the 800s now, but
Zcash.
Zcash.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I got into that scam too.
One of their ETFs actually just got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and the thing is that like we were talking about utility, right? So you have to like when you're looking at the crypto sector, right? Just like stocks, right? You want to be able to understand the different areas of the crypto market, right? One of them is privacy coins.
100%.
Another one is like tokenization stocks, like Solana, right? Which also plays into the AI agentic economy, things like that. Things like Chainlink. Chainlink is one of the top like runner-ups for, I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard this, Swift, right? Have you heard of
Swift.
You've heard of
financial
Swift?
I'm into Link
right.
too right now.
Yeah.
So
So Swift,
Link and AVAX are my babies.
yeah. So Swift is actually
Wait.
like,
Is Swift the term when I want to send a wire, I see a Swift number?
yeah. So that's a good point, right? Everyone, all the older generation will know what Swift is because if you want to
Calling
send,
the ambassador old.
no.
I feel like that
Just
was-
because he has a
I
beard
feel like
doesn't mean he's old.
By the
bro.
way-
that
I
was.
send a lot of wires, man.
That was a low key neg,
Yeah.
right?
No, but by the way, the Mad
People
Bulgarian.
can't pull this dress off. The
Rogue. It's because I handle big money, so wire transfers a lot.
Oh, that's why.
okay.
That's why.
That's
it
right.
makes
What did
sense.
you say? You're 6'8" when you're standing on your cash.
Exactly, man.
By the way, the Mad Bulgarian is not part of the older generation. It's his birthday today. He turned 25.
I am actually
So happy
proud of you.
birthday to
birthday.
yeah, happy
Thank
birthday
you.
to
No,
him.
I do
man.
not want to be 25 again. I will say that, but I am grateful. And in fact, it's our very own Z Money's birthday tomorrow because we're Virgo.
Hey, happy
Hey.
birthday, guys.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I do
So-
want to comment on crypto real quick,
Yeah.
though, because, I read this week that Jim Cramer, okay, the Cramer effect, right? He completely sold out of Bitcoin
Mm-hmm.
because he said that, and of course, right after he sells out, it goes up. Go figure. The Cramer effect is real, guys. And so he had talked about how quantum computing is a threat to crypto, and yeah, it is. But the other argument of that coin is it a threat? Yeah, but imagine now you have a 4-digit PIN number.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the time quantum computing comes to that point to where it's available to the public, where you can hack, your seed phrase and whatnot, I think there'll be other defenses in play
Yeah.
to keep people from getting their crypto stolen.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like that was a pretty interesting reason to get out of crypto.
Yeah, and honestly, now look, he has definitely his opinions on things, and we have ours. But quantum computing is also a sector to sleep on. I know sometimes they'll go through periods where it's not moving, and it doesn't. Not everything has to go against each other. It could be very, very complementary. So what I mean by that is that if crypto's going up, catch that run in crypto.
Yeah.
Gold's going up, they're both,
You're talking about
even though gold's a safe
quantum
haven.
computing?
Correct. So stocks like that would be
What-
like
what are the- what are the
QUBT,
some- oh,
QBTS, IBM is the big one. But for like the viewers out there, you can't really go buy IBM because it's a larger share price. But whereas QUBTs, in the less
They
than
can only buy
$10.
the option contracts.
Well, the average trader doesn't really
Yeah.
get into option contracts, doesn't get into futures contracts because that's something where they could just blow their account, or you could get into crypto and it'll do it
But
for
the
you.
ambassador isn't the average trader.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So
Yeah, I mean, you can hear him. He's using Swift to wire money to, his Nigerian prince. But,
My Nigerian prince.
but yeah,
My princess. My
there,
Nigerian
there
prince.
was, yeah,
the
or-
original scam.
yeah,
Was a
exactly.
Nigerian prince.
now it's losing your Ethereum account.
Was that?
Now it's losing your Ethereum account.
Yeah,
So like,
and by the way, something important to mention about what the Mad Bulgarian said is that crypto is a unique market in the sense that updates can come out to the blockchains, right? So, in the same sense that potentially quantum computing in however many years from now could hack your seed phrase, or however many months from now, I don't know the timeline, right?
Years.
Yeah, or years.
Aliens could come down next year.
Exactly.
And could decimate our entire internet structure.
So there's that what if, but in
Well,
addition to
Which is
that,
why you should buy gold.
yeah. So in addition to that, right, you also have the fact that, you know, all these developers, right, whether they're from Bitcoin or Solana, they can always release updates to prevent that from happening.
You're very right.
Something's happening in the ambassador's mind.
Still think about the Nigerian princess.
laughing at the
The
Bullionite.
Bullionite was just doing this with his arm.
He's
you know?
trying to flex on us.
Yeah, he's
He was doing
finishing up a meeting, I
He was doing
think.
something else.
I
you
gotta,
know?
I gotta
It's
ask
like-
a question now. I love Bitcoin, and I don't know this off the top of my head, but Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, allegedly, right? The mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto. And so, who's the dev team for Bitcoin? Does Bitcoin have a dev team? Because I mean, Solana is an active project. I know they have a dev team. XRP is an active project. AVAX, so on and so forth. Who's running Bitcoin?
So are you saying XRP is stronger than Bitcoin?
I did not say that. I'm saying
that's what I
XRP.
inferred,
No,
at
not at all. I inferred that XRP has a dev team, unlike Bitcoin. That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom
So-
of.
That's more potential.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a great question.
XRP
by
has
the
the
way.
potential to degrade down to 25 cents again.
That's
That's what XRP is doing.
Who actually develops Bitcoin?
So that's a good question. So Bitcoin's actually the unique one in that sense, where there is no active dev team, right? And
we know of.
Well, that we know of. But the thing is that
I know where you're going. I
now
love
there's
this.
a discrepancy to that, because that's why things like privacy coins exist, because there's actually capability for the privacy coin to interact with any Bitcoin that's owned and secure it through that chain, right? So there's no active dev team for Bitcoin, but things have come out that like essentially support the security of holding Bitcoin. Now, that's also why people say that Solana could be worth more than Bitcoin in the future.
They got, like,
Why?
Bitcoin DLC packs is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Download content.
Now, honestly, I very much agree with Aki on that, because on the last point specifically on how, you know, people are more interested in
Wait, hold on. Did you just say you agree with him?
I do, yeah. And in this case, because, you know, whether we're talking, you know, shade over XRP or not, but at the end of the day, if something that has a huge potential in, like Solana, like AVAX, like Chainlink and XRP, we'll link it in there for now, just, you know, just for simplicity's sake. But these things, you have to be also aware of the type of people who are buying it.
Yeah.
They're the people, and along with the institutions and the financial, you know, the banking systems and all that stuff, and like even countries that are having these digital asset treasuries.
Yeah, El Salvador is still very heavy in
El
Bitcoin.
Salvador, there was a few more, you know, China has, you know, and they're even trying to, and I remember seeing that Russia is reducing some of their restrictions on crypto as well, doing like these similar to crypto clarity acts. So, you know, as the world is getting more inclined to using it, people are likely to go to the thing that hasn't gone to 120,000.
Yeah.
They like to go to the thing that's at $90 or $80, like Solana.
Are you guys in the loop on the Clarity Act? Because I read the other day that somebody had placed bets on, I think it was Polymarket or something,
Bets on
about the
everything.
Clarity Act being passed.
When did they say? Do you remember?
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just very
Well,
curious.
what was the
as to-
percentage of?
I don't.
He's not a gambling man.
I'm not
Like,
a gambler.
he's not a gambler. He's a
I
trader.
read the news. And,
I'm
you
not
know,
a
I read
gambler,
the
I'm a
news,
trader.
and I don't necessarily believe the news that I read, but I read. And so that was interesting to me about the Clarity Act, because I have heard about the Clarity Act.
Yeah.
You know, when you log into Coinbase, the first thing they tell you is
That clarity.
support the Clarity
Yeah.
Act,
Yeah.
write to your congressman, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. So what is the deal with that?
Now-
When are we going to get that? you know,
Hopefully soon.
signed up,
Yeah,
signed through?
hopefully soon. Like we're all hoping for it, by the way. But there was recently a crypto White House summit, and when Trump was speaking, he had gave the crypto lovers affirmations, right? That America is going to be the Bitcoin capital of the world, right? Bitcoin and crypto capital of the world, right? So I think our administration is working hard, right, and our SEC is working hard to get that passed, right? Now, obviously, there are certain opposing parties that may feel strongly for the other side just because of the fact that Trump supports it, right? But at the end of the day, I think that it's a good act that could potentially get passed and then help crypto in the future.
Yeah.
I have a question real quick. How you feel about Trump supporting Hyperliquid the other day?
Oh, that's a good question.
What's Hyperliquid?
It's also another
It's
exchange.
another coin.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another exchange.
They're exchange and a coin.
Yeah.
They have their own coin, but they're really good. They're about in the $70-$80 area.
Okay.
Hyperliquid is not allowed currently in the U.S., but now they were just based outside, and I know there were some restrictions on having kind of like when Binance had their whole issue as well.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But now after having that White House summit, we're now able to see.
Did you like his grin?
He was so happy because that day Hyperliquid went up like 20% if not mistaken. So
Do you think this this movement in the crypto market will keep going, or do we see another pullback and then another consolidation for a couple months till next year?
couple months.
Till the halving, because isn't it every 4 years the crypto market starts moving, and the 4th year is next year, November.
So you're wondering
So do
if
you
this is a dead
think
cat
this
bounce?
is just a dead cat bounce, and then we just consolidate, and then start running back up?
I personally don't think so, because the strength that it showed in these past couple of days, and just overall, it's such an oversold market. And along with dead cat bounces are usually small retail buying. It's not financial institution buying, but we're seeing the last couple of days institutions starting to load back up. Companies that have digital asset treasuries loading up, buying more and more on the cheap. Because at the end of the day, if you go to the store to buy a Fairlife drink, you could be like, you know what, today it's at $1. I want to load up on this before they raise the price back up to $3.
But they can also sell whenever they want.
They can, but that's
Yeah.
the market. So I don't know if you want to finish it up, we should kind of talk a little bit about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since we've been talking about crypto for a while, there's something important to mention with crypto, and then like it'll transition into another topic briefly, right? Is that the same way that gold or silver is a leverage play on gold, right? Meaning that gold leads the run, and then silver could appreciate more, but has to have gold run before it, right? Is the same concept as Bitcoin and the altcoins, right? So people out there, right, who are interested in Solana, Chainlink, AVAX, whatever it is, right, also have to understand that, even if you don't like Bitcoin but like these other altcoins, Bitcoin needs to run in order for these altcoins to run. Ethereum needs to run in order for these altcoins to run. So that's the probably thing that I wanted
What
to
do you guys
say.
think of Dogecoin? Does it keep going or what?
Well,
Does it come back to life?
Most of crypto, we saw this last cycle. Most of crypto was just, every day something's up. You got ISPC, all these, smaller coins that don't get a lot of attention. They just ride the wave.
Anything could run, man.
Yeah.
Anything could run. And with that note, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys. Again, Coffee with the Traders every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And check out all of our awesome reels where we show our losses, our wins, and the receipts. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all.